Slay's telling Mubelwa Bandio, I come in peace. If cost of fuel is going up in Kenya, I'm sure it's going up in TZ too.
Sure.
How are they managing? And I think real quick, Apo Bandio, just kwa dakika moja, maybe tell us if these price increments are restricted to Kenya, ama if you're facing the same issues in Tanzania. Mubelwa.
I'm not sure about the ratio, but it's getting up too.
Okay.
And people are complaining.
Okay, cost of living pay.
Cost of living is, it's crazy. Just like Omosh said, somehow it's driven by fuel.
Yes.
Correct. So if depending on how much you depend on fuel,
yes,
and where you get that fuel, any changes in oil prices will affect you.
And fuel affects literally all sectors of the economy.
Yes.
I don't know any sector that does not rely on transportation.
And by the way, this is I think the numbers just came out. I think is it Saudi? Those guys made the most money from fuel.
Oh, those guys.
This past fiscal year.
Those guys are minting. They're building another Dubai.
It's the most money they have made.
Yeah, that's why they're building another Dubai and they're buying in a Cristiano Ronaldo.
So war Ukraine inaonekana inawasaidia. Si kwa ubaya.
I mean, unfortunately, there's always people who benefit from more.
These guys have made a lot of money.
Okay.
They made a lot of
All
money.
right. And then Apa Nduku Ndambuki karibu sana anasema we are busy eating prayers daily.
Ay, Nduku.
Okay, Nduku. Alafu Washeke anasema we should all be concerned. Has anyone seen the bloodbath on the Nairobi Stock Exchange? Investors are pulling money away from Kenya. And this is a time, I was mentally thinking that I want to test the waters.
Atufanye unyurowana, atiweka yakafut.
If you go to a website called mystocks.co.ke, it's red kila pahali. Red, all the stocks. Red kila pahali. Red on the floor. Red on the ceiling.
I don't think Silicon Valley Bank helped things. I would say I invest in a company in Kenya, and man, they wrote us a really strong email. Not strong in the sense of it's more like telling us, we're doing our best to make sure that we're not impacted by this. And I can only say, Credit Suisse also, had to kind of be bailed by the Swiss government, right?
Yes.
So there's just so much happening in the global economy. And unfortunately, when things are happening globally, and just talk about interest rates being raised in Kenya, in the US, that is affecting the dollar here and abroad, right?
Big
so
time.
There are local factors that like the drought to begin with, policies that be made, but also there are factors outside of Kenya's control.
Absolutely.
So it's gonna get bad. I think it's good to be, unfortunately, it's good to actually own it up. It's gonna get bad. We need to start putting more money aside in the diaspora if you support your families in Kenya, because they're gonna ask for it.
Okay, all right. And then Tucha karibu sana. I have Ken Paul Kenny here. Karibu. Ken Paul says previous administrations had current president as second in command. That should be the denominator always. Ken, maybe you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, can you explain that, please?
Yeah. And then Ken further says, during the campaigns, they said the war in Ukraine had nothing to do with the situation. Now they are using the same excuse they refuted. Very interesting coming from
Sounds
Ken there.
like BBI.
And then Washeke says inflation is pretty much all over the world.
Correct.
But the high taxation and weak shilling makes it much higher in Kenya. So let's go back to Slay Odwar and her comments and what she said about diaspora pockets. Because this is happening in Kenya. You might think that you have your nice job here, you're earning your nice money. But let's hear what Slay said about diaspora pockets. Producer.
We send money home. There are people who've invested back home, in as much as you've advised against, investments like Airbnb, but there are people who still have invested back home, bought land, have businesses back home. And I think, the way the economy is going and the exchange rate of the Kenya shilling versus the dollar, I think it's hurting our pockets.